What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel for yet another Real Talk episode. We're going to be covering the 11.5 556 Sig Spear LT Gen 3 and why I'm in love with it again. But before we do, I want to give a big shout out to Brownells. We have a beautiful little, I guess you could say, a combination of words and letters you can use to save money over there. But head over to rangedaybro.com and click the discounts page. You'll see all of our affiliate links and our discount codes over there, as well as our loadouts page, which this guy is on. We'll have an updated version of it for after we do the full review on it with the little added third position, which we're going to talk about. But also subscribe to the email list, like, comment, subscribe, Rumble, X, all that stuff. You guys know how to do it. So love you guys. Thank you for being here and allowing me to do this. Now, why am I excited about this gun again? Because it is a short stroke gas piston gun. It is not a cheap gun. It's still pretty expensive. I bought this on 100% with my own money about a year and a half ago. Took 7 months to get my Form 1 for the SBR back. Shout out Congressman Chip Roy, abolish the ATF, all that good stuff. But this gun's not cheap. It's front heavy, and it's not in any particular way amazing over the other DI options on the market, like the Geisley options or insert your favorite AR brand here, especially when it was just in semi-auto mode. Well, now you have the ability with Delta Team Tactical to get a 3-position forced reset trigger, and with just one little extra goodie, make it work in the Sig Spear LT. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the setup, and as I go through from blast end to ass end, we'll talk about the parts that I'm waiting on that I'm going to be changing out in order to get this thing to run even better. So for those of you who are wondering why are we talking about this right now, because I am planning on doing a full follow-up review on this gun and covering a lot of this in that review and showing footage. But as you guys know, Real Talks are unedited, authentic. So I had a lot of people requesting after my latest reel over on Instagram. Check it out, Range Day Bro on IG or on YouTube as well. It's a YouTube short. We shot this thing in FRT mode and it ran amazing. It actually ran too good. It ran a little too fast. And so people were asking for an update on this gun, how I got it to run and kind of the setup and stuff. So that's what we're going to do today. Starting at the front, in that video, we actually had it running with the RC2. This can is very, very popular for good reason. It's been around for forever. It's bomb-proof, but it is a traditional, it's like a 30-year-old design at this point, maybe even older. And it's a traditional baffle stack can, very high back pressure can. And that's what was on the Sig Spear at the time that we function tested it with the FRT, and it was running at a very high cyclic rate. I'm talking like MP5 or Chris Vector cyclic rates, like very, very high. And again, you can go check that video out on IG or my YouTube shorts if you want to see it running. So we replaced that with the Energetic Armament Ferox. It's not a true flow-through can. It's probably like 25%, I would say, or so, reduced back pressure. That's a very unscientific number. I do work for those guys. I run their YouTube channel, but that's not coming from the engineers. That's just from like me shooting it versus other cans of similar size and dimension. That's kind of what I've noticed. It has an expansion chamber in here, so it actually just gives the gas a little bit more room to expand and flow around the first baffle. You can, again, look all that stuff up. But that's why it's sitting on here today and not the RC2, because, again, we have to make, I'm trying to make little minor improvements to this platform to get it to run and tune it to run reliably in FRT mode while being suppressed. So one more thing I'll note very quickly about this can is that the Sig has a taper barrel, but this is directly threaded and it has the taper adapter, so it creates a flat shoulder like a typical AR-15 barrel on here. I am waiting for the owners to send me a direct thread taper mount for this thing so that I can directly mount it to the Sig barrel and have that taper design so that it doesn't back off quite as frequently as it would otherwise. So that's one change, and another change that you'll see in the next video is that I'll probably have that taper adapter, hopefully have that taper adapter on this can and have it still direct threaded, but with that taper design. So it's like pretty much like having a Q cherry bomb or a Plan B on the gun without having a muzzle device. So that's a change we're going to be seeing here shortly. We also have like this thing's going to be like my nightstand, night vision, 100 yards, 150 yards and in gun. Obviously, I can reach out with it further if I really wanted to. I have a 5X magnifier that we can use, but primarily it's going to be used for those purposes. A purpose-driven gun, CQB, home defense, and 150, 200 yards and in. Not that it can't go further. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's the way I'm setting this thing up with that intention. That's my 80 or 90%, if you want to call it the 90, 80% rule, whatever it is. That's the way it's going to be. This guy does have adjustable gas. It has a normal setting and then an increased or adverse gas setting. So Again, that's one of the issues with this platform and running it suppressed in FRT mode, is that there's no way to tune the gas down. That would be the easiest solution, obviously, but there may be some aftermarket methods, but none that I'm aware of yet. So again, this is the 11.5 LT stock handguard. We are running the Samson Manufacturing vertical grip on here. Some M-LOK rail scale attachments. We have the Surefire Vampire on here. It's a white light and IR light, so you just twist the head and you can choose which one you want to shoot with. Right now it's obviously on white light. And the Steiner CQBL. We have a Unity switch on here. I forget which one this is called, but it looks like a little triangle, so you guys can look that up. I don't think they make it anymore, but I actually really like it. So pretty neat little setup. That's the reason it's sporting the attachments or the accoutrement that it has. Moving back from there, we just have a little pick section for tripod work, and then we have the Magpul QD sling swivel up top because the Sig Spear LT does not have any QD points built into the handguard, which I think was a big missed opportunity, but I get it. The way it's designed, it would have to be on the side anyways, which is not where I like it because the rail interface is up here with the upper receiver. Moving back from there, we do have the EOTech EXPS 3-2. So it's got a donut of death and then 2 dots. I think it's collaborated or calibrated rather for 14.5. So it should be like a 5,200 yard zero for the first dot and then a 500 yard zero for the second dot. I found that it was pretty accurate with the 11.5. You have to hold a little bit above target, obviously, with that second dot at 500 yards. But I'm going to be switching it out for this single dot EOTech, which is does not have the donut of death. It's just the dot, just like an aim point. But I have astigmatism, so I prefer the holographics. And that's going to be changed out because I'm focusing on this gun being like the primary night vision gun. And that donut of death really clouds up and introduces a lot of unneeded light back into your eye, in my opinion. So I like just a single dot, and we have those dots, so that's going to be swapped out. It is running the 100 Concepts ARD on here, also the Light Cap Pro, so some 100 Concepts swag on here. I did buy those. I did buy the ARD. They sent me this light cap, but I bought an ARD and a light cap long before they ever sent me anything. I just like the stuff. I think it's a little overpriced, but it's really good quality for what it is. Moving down from there, we have the HRF Concepts magazine well. This thing is like a cheat code, especially under night vision. It's phenomenal. Once you start using it, it really is like a major crutch. And when you get rid of it, you're just like, how do I reload? So I love these things. And they're actually the ones on their IG story who turned me on to the gentleman or the company that makes the Trip Bar, which is Midnight Machine. Previously, I was only aware of PMM, Parker Mountain Machine, making those. So really cool that another company is actually making them. Again, we function tested it. We ran 100 rounds through this thing, 95% in FRT mode, and actually 97% because I only shot 3 rounds semi-auto. The rest were in FRT mode, and it works great, I gotta say. As you guys can see from the footage, if you watch the video, it works as it was designed. And we'll talk about that more in just a second, but we have the EOTech on a fast riser. I forgot to mention that. So it's a Unity fast riser. So it brings the optic center up to 1.93, I believe it is, because this is already a lower 1/3 optic. So brings it up to 193, which is great for night vision passive aiming. And then we have the FRT trigger from Delta Team Tactical. But besides that, everything else is stock on here. And speaking of stock, this is the Magpul MOE stock. We do have a CTR in tan and FDE coming in with a cheek riser. And then it is on the Samson Manufacturing BRE, the bufferless receiver extension. Really love this thing. It's super rock solid on the lockup. Has 2 cross bolts to bolt it up to the lower receiver, and then a push button folding mechanism. It does not lock while folded, but it has pretty good tension. So you really got to shake it to get it to fall out. But if you're looking for something with more retention when it's folded, this is not the bufferless receiver extension for you. But yeah, with all that being said, let's just talk really quickly about the piece that everyone's here for, which is the Trip Bar and getting the FRT to work in the Sig Spear LT. So the way it works is because it's a bufferless short stroke gas piston system without a buffer tube. It's a bufferless short stroke gas piston system, I guess you could say. So it's not like a direct impingement gun where you have the bolt cycling back from up here into the buffer tube. And then when it goes back forward, the back of that full auto BCG trips off the auto sear on a machine gun. And on the FRT's case, the disconnector, I guess you could say, I don't know what it's actually technically called, but it allows you to then re-engage and pull the trigger again on the FRT. On a machine gun, it's one single pull and it just automatically does it. You don't have to re-pull the trigger. So that's the difference for legalities purposes. If you guys are worried about it, go check out my video with the armed attorneys. They are like legitimate attorneys in Houston, Texas. They work for the GOA, the Gun Owners of America Texas Division. They write legislation for them. And I asked them a lot of these questions because I was a little concerned myself, given my political beliefs and being a constitutionalist and believing in the Second Amendment. I wanted to make sure I was crossing my T's and dotting my I's before I came on camera and did all this stuff. So go check that video out if you guys are worried about it. But essentially, there's a little missing piece on the Sig Spear, which I'm not going to show you guys today for YouTube reasons, but it essentially just replaces the back of that BCG on a normal AR-15, and it just allows the trigger to understand when the bolt is fully in battery. That's all it's doing. It is a pretty expensive piece for a piece of metal, for a little piece of cut metal, but it's like $130 on PMM's website, but Midnight Machine has it for like $110, and they're actually in stock last time I checked. So it works as advertised. I've never used the PMM one. I was waiting for it to come back in stock, and then HRF posted that Midnight Machine had them in stock, and so I just went and picked one up. And then of course the next day PMM came back in stock, and they sold out like that. But again, it works as advertised, so I have no reason to go spend more on PMM. I like PMM, it's nothing against them. It's just, it's nice to see other people actually filling the void and meeting the demand that people want, because we don't know how long these things will be around before they get legislated against, and if they're going to get grandfathered or whatever. Obviously, I believe every machine gun is legal and protected by the Second Amendment, but these are not machine guns, so let's just be very clear about that. And so that little piece is the missing piece. It's very easy to install. Again, I'm not going to talk about that, how to do it. You can figure it out. There's actually no videos that I could find on how to do it. But when you get it in, it's very clearly, like, you can very easily find where it goes and figure out which direction it goes. It's like there's really only one way to put it in there. And so, yeah, that's the big thing. And what kind of kicked all this off, what kind of sparked this for me was I saw a dude, I wish I remember the name of his Instagram channel. I think Delta Team Tactical actually reposted it. And he was doing it in a Sig Spear LT. And I was like, dude, that unlocks everything that I wanted to do with the LT. Because again, short stroke gas piston gun is great for higher rates of fire and keeping that heat away from you, keeping that gas away from you when you're running it at an increased rate of fire. Otherwise, it's just a heavier, front heavy AR-15, right? That you can shoot while folded, which nobody really cares about. So yeah, once I saw that video, I was like, okay, I need to do that with my gun, because I would love to do that with my gun. And then I have like a modernized 416 without all the great brand reputation behind HK, you know what I mean? So again, I bought this gun with my own money, so I don't mind talking crap on Sig about it. But yeah, that's pretty much the reason that we're talking about. Oh, one last thing I forgot to mention is the Geisley increased power recoil springs for the MCX. According to Sig themselves, it is the same springs on the Gen 1 and Gen 2 Virtus as it is on the Gen 3 Spear LT. So again, called Geisley, asked them if those springs would work on the Spear LT. They said they didn't know. Then I called Sig. They said that the part numbers are exactly the same if you were to order replacement parts. My daughter's having a good time downstairs, sounds like, with her mom. But again, they should work. So those are coming in to help me reduce that cyclic rate and get it functioning at a more sustainable rate of fire versus what it was with the RC2 and the stock gas setting, the reduced gas or the normal gas setting, and the stock powered springs. So that's what we're working with. The springs are coming in, which are the big thing. We're going to see how it functions with those increased power springs. After that, if it doesn't work, we'll probably have to throw a flow-through can on here. And then if that should solve it. And then after that, just the MOE or the CTR stock from the MOE. And then we should be cooking. That should be all the upgrades I'm going to do to it before I really get into the higher round counts for the follow-up review on this gun. Because at that point, this is going to be a pretty, I mean, it already is a pretty sick gun after this, this little 3-position guy right here. This is the same FRT trigger that was in the 11.5 and the 12.5 Geisley. So this trigger is going on after the testing we did with this gun right here. It's up to 1,600 rounds and 0 malfunctions, aside from ammunition-related malfunctions, which we'll talk about in the full review. But essentially, it was reloaded ammo. Some of that stuff from the brass tumbler, those little steel pins fell down into the lower and jammed the trigger. It actually also jammed up the BCG. I couldn't even get it out of the receiver extension after mortaring it multiple times. It had to soak in oil. So it was not trigger related. Let's just put it that way. I'm very confident it was not trigger related. It's not me making excuses. I paid full price for this Delta Team Tactical FRT trigger. It was $600 after tax and shipping, which is kind of unbelievable, but it unlocks a capability that is otherwise unobtainium to civilians, because pre-86 machine guns are ridiculously expensive, and it's not a real machine gun, but it kind of scratches that itch, so to speak, without having to go down that path. So really awesome trigger. I'm very happy Delta Team Tactical is providing these. I wish they were a little bit cheaper, obviously, but I'm really glad they brought these to the market, and now civilians can own something that, again, scratches that itch without having to cash in their house, sell their house, and live in a car for 6 years in order to buy one. But that's pretty much going to be it, guys. If you guys enjoy this stuff, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about the FRT, about it in the Sig Spear. What do you guys think about this setup and using this for a night vision gun? I want to hear from you guys. I know there's a lot of opinions around this type of stuff, especially for outsiders that aren't American, that aren't pro 2A. But I want to hear from everybody. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Please head over to rangedaybro.com. Check out our discounts page. It really does support the channel, keeps the ammo flowing, keeps the production value, allows me to pay for more SD cards, all the things that go into making these videos. I am a one-man show over here, so I really appreciate every single one of you who does go over to the website, buys merch, or uses the discounts page, checks out any of that stuff, or subscribe to the email list as well. I love you guys. Thank you. Christ is King. Stay safe. Take care. Talk to you next time. Drink a lot of water.